What's up, y'all? It's your boy Peter, and I actually wanted to talk about a story of something that I've recently been going through for these past couple of weeks. It's no surprise to anybody, but we're currently going through this coronavirus situation right now. It's taking the world by storm. It's affecting us internationally. A lot of people are contracted this thing and dying. A lot of people are, it's affecting the economy, tremendously. Honestly, this is an experience that a lot of us didn't ever expect to go through in our lifetime. Make a long story short, it originated in China. China got hit pretty hard with it, and then it spread to the rest of the world, where Europe ended up getting hit pretty hard with this. And now at the moment that I'm making this video, America's getting hit pretty hard with it. And I actually just got done with a 2-week mandatory isolation. I was instructed to do an isolation for 2 weeks due to the possibility that I might have had the coronavirus / the COVID-19. And I kind of wanted to talk about my situation and what I've been dealing with for these past couple of weeks. Now before I get started with my video, I'd really appreciate it if you guys like, share, comment, and subscribe. And let's get back to where this all started. So pretty much this began 3 weeks ago. For the Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of that week, I felt pretty fine. I had no issues. I was working and I felt fully operational. But when Thursday came around, I noticed that I began to have a headache. I began to have this headache where, it wasn't too bad, but it was enough to just annoy you. And I remember being at work just feeling lightheaded and feeling dizzy. Honestly, I just felt out of it. I felt so dizzy. It was to the point to where while I was at work, I had to get a coworker. I had to ask a coworker to get me some fruit cups. So I could eat it and hopefully it can make me feel better, because I actually do take medication, and I thought maybe it was because I didn't eat before I took medication on that particular day. Sometimes when you take medication without eating, you do get dizzy, and I thought that was the situation. And matter of fact, actually, after I got done eating those fruit cups, the headache actually went away. The headache went away, and I went about my business at work and just did my thing. Later on that day, that headache did come back for a little bit. It came back for a little bit, but it was nothing too crazy. So Friday comes around. And this headache that only lasted for like a little bit on Thursday, it lasted for the whole day this time around. And at this point, I was really hoping that maybe it was my anxiety, because I've been doing a lot of research. I did a lot of research on this coronavirus situation. I like watching videos of some of the individuals that caught the coronavirus and ended up surviving the coronavirus. And I thought maybe I'm tripping, it's all in my head. But that headache lasted for the whole entire day. Even actually when I got home, I was just, my teeth were chattering. I started to get chills because I was tripping. My anxiety started to take a toll on me. I went through a life-threatening situation a couple years back, and it gave me this bad habit of sometimes, making up, symptoms that I don't really have. And I thought that might have been the situation, but I was really convinced, oh my God, like I might have the coronavirus, like I'm tripping balls right now. And that night I actually didn't get any sleep. I didn't get any sleep that whole entire night. I couldn't sleep, my mind was racing, and I still had that headache. I didn't feel good. So when 6 o'clock came around in the morning on Saturday, I began to develop a fever. So at this point, I'm thinking to myself, like, yo, I think I might have the coronavirus. I went to my living room, I went to my kitchen, got all my necessary items, I moved the TV in my room, got all the foods that I'm able to fix up in my room, peanut butter jelly sandwich, tortilla chips and stuff. I brought it all in my room, brought cereal in my room, and pretty much I closed the door, locked the door, and I was prepared for the possibility of having to quarantine myself for 2 weeks. I do live with my brother, so I gave him a text message saying, don't come up to my door. I think there's a possibility I might have this thing. And I ended up getting a fever. I started sweating bullets, bro. I started sweating like a motherfucker. I don't recall ever being that musky ever in my life. I was sweating so much. I ended up getting muscle cramps. I ended up getting muscle soreness. My muscles felt a little bit weak. I ended up getting like stomach issues and using the bathroom more often. I was pretty much just trying to figure out where this thing was gonna go. Like, is it gonna get worse? Am I getting worse? And for that whole entire day, I pretty much was just dealing with a fever and muscle cramps. Later on that day, I did go to the hospital. I called a cousin that worked at the local hospital that I live at, and I told her, I think I might have the coronavirus, and she told me to come into the hospital. While I was there, they did a bunch of blood work on me, seeing, what I may have, and they tested me for a bunch of things. They tested me for a urinary tract infection, and that came out negative. They tested me for the common cold. That came out negative, and they also tested me for the flu, where if I don't have the coronavirus, then that's probably what I have, and that also came out negative. They also tested me for the coronavirus, but unfortunately they weren't able to get the results immediately. They had to ship that out to a certain location, and literally, for that process, they literally had to shove a Q-tip down the back of your nose, literally all the way into the back of your nose, bro. Like, it was the most uncomfortable feeling ever. Like, it didn't feel good. But pretty much, the lady did that and the nurse did that, and she pretty much said you should have your results in 2 days. Sunday comes around. That day was pretty standard. Still had a fever, still had muscle soreness, but things didn't necessarily get worse. It was just my fever, and I actually got to the point to where I began to think to myself, like, hopefully all I get is a fever. Maybe this is the worst of it. Maybe it's not gonna get any worse at all. I began to feel pretty confident that a fever was the only thing that I had to worry about. That Sunday, I didn't get much sleep, and I fell asleep around 3 o'clock in the morning. That Monday morning, I woke up at 6 o'clock, so I only got 3 hours of sleep. When I woke up that day, my breathing was terrible. It literally felt like, how you tie a shoe? It literally felt like somebody took my airways by their hands and bow tied it and blocked off one of my airways. It was the worst feeling ever. Now, I do have asthma, and sometimes when you wake up in the morning, you do have to, cough up a little bit and cough out, that mucus a little bit, to get your airways flowing again. But this time it was different. There wasn't any mucus coming out, and I was just getting a dry cough, and my breathing was not getting any better. I went into the shower because I heard things about steam, being able to clear your airways and stuff. And at the time, it just was not working. And I actually had to go to the hospital again. And, I told them that my breathing was bad. My breathing wasn't looking good. I had a hard time breathing this morning. Because, I'm trying to make sure nothing happens while I'm at home. I'm not trying to wait. I'm not trying to wait until it's too late. So, I took a second hospital visit. Those 2 times that I went to the hospital, that was my first time being admitted to a hospital since 2016. They x-rayed me, they checked out my breathing, and luckily my breathing began to get a little bit better while I was there. It began to get a little bit better. The doctor had talked to me and said that he wants to send me home because he doesn't want to run the possibility of sending me where all the coronavirus patients go, and find out that I don't really have the coronavirus. And I agreed with him, and he said he's going to keep a close eye on me, and that was really reassuring. And unfortunately, they did not have my results. They did not have my results that Sunday. And this time they were telling me that it's gonna take 2 to 5 days. So I went back home, was just keeping track of my breathing. But pretty much I was using this to keep track of my breathing. It's called a spirometer. And pretty much you like blow into it to like measure the quality of your breathing. If you're able to breathe, there's a little thing right here. And if you're able to bring it all the way to the top, then pretty much your breathing is good, or at least your breathing isn't at a critical state where you need like emergency medical attention. So looks like my breathing is good. But pretty much, I just been taking care of myself for that first week. I would say that Monday and Wednesday was pretty much the apex of the sickness, and that's when it was at its worst. Also, during the nighttime, man, it got significantly worse. There would be days where, it would be daytime and, it's not necessarily, I'm kind of sick, but it's not as bad. But during the nighttime while I'm trying to sleep, I don't know. It's like there would be a switch that clicks on for the disease, for the virus to get a lot worse, man. I just felt terrible, man. I hate to say it, but I was nervous of the possibility I might not wake up, or I might go to sleep, wake up and I'm not able to breathe at all. And pretty much that was the story of the first week. The whole story of the first week, just taking care of myself, keeping a very close eye on myself during the night times, and just making sure I'm straight, and isolating myself in my room. Wednesday came around. When Wednesday came around, I asked for my results again, and this time they told me that it would take 10 days. 10 days for my results, bro. I had no choice but to do a 2-week isolation, because I wasn't gonna find out my results until damn near the isolation ended. But pretty much that was the first week, and by the end of the first week, I felt like I was 80% of my normal self. I felt pretty good by the end of the week, and I felt very confident that things weren't gonna get worse. Now, for the second week, which was last week, the best way to describe my experience with the last week is it felt like the virus was trying to hang on for its dear life. It was to the point to where my breathing gotten better, and my fever gotten better, but it wouldn't 100% go away. Like, it just wouldn't go away. The presence of the fever was there enough just to, be like, hey, I'm here, I'm here, you still got a fever, motherfucker. And then the breathing, if I went about my day on some normal stuff, like, I didn't really have any issues with breathing, but if I did like working out, or I did a task that required a lot of breathing, it's like the breathing issues would show up again just to remind me, hey, I'm still here. And pretty much that was the whole story of last week. I felt for the most part fine, but it was still clinging on to me. Like, it was just being stubborn and clinging on to me pretty much. And yeah, that was, the story of the whole second week. On Friday, I did get my results. I got my results that evening. They called my mom. They gave her a message to say that I need to give them a call to, go over my results to see if I do have, the coronavirus, or I don't have the coronavirus. I gave them a call, and they told me that I was negative for the coronavirus. They told me that I was negative and that I was clear for having the coronavirus. Now, a lot of y'all are probably thinking to yourself like, woohoo, you didn't have the coronavirus. It said that you tested negative. But if I'm to be honest with you, I honestly would have felt a lot better if I tested positive for the coronavirus. Because, in my mind, I'm thinking to myself like, yo, what the hell did I go through? I had a headache, a fever, muscle aches, and a shortness of breath, and that's literally exactly everything they said you'd have during the coronavirus. So in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, like, what did I go through? What was it? Was the test, was the test faulty? Was it accurate? I was just so confused because, it just left me with this feeling of like I'll never know what I had. I would never 100% know what it was that I contracted. And also, the lady that was on the phone that gave me the results didn't make it any better. The person that I was on the phone pretty much said, just because you tested negative for the virus doesn't necessarily mean you don't have the virus. Matter of fact, act like you have a virus and still finish up your quarantine. That's pretty much what she said. According to her, what she told me is that when they send it over to the labs, when they're testing it to see if I have the virus, there's certain criteria that they have to check mark, to confirm that I have the virus. And if they check mark enough of those things, then that pretty much confirms that I have a virus. Now, according to her, apparently I got the check mark for a few things, but not enough to say you officially have the coronavirus. So that left me even more confused, thinking to myself like, yo, I tested negative, but you also telling me that I checked mark for some of the criteria, and I also might still have the coronavirus. But I began to look into it, and I began to see stories of people having coronavirus symptoms, but when they take the test, they test negative for it. But the second time around when they take the test, they end up testing positive. So, I didn't know how to feel about the results. I questioned if it was accurate or not, but in the end of the day, I have to trust trust the process. And definitely speaking, I tested negative for the coronavirus. There's still a piece of me in my mind. I feel like I got this thing. Like every single thing that people are saying on the TV and on the news and in videos of what you're gonna experience when you have the coronavirus, I literally went through all of it. So, who knows? Did I actually have the coronavirus? I guess I'll never know, man. But it damn sure felt like it. As I'm currently recording this video, I officially got done with my 2-week quarantine. So I'm pretty much free to go out into the real world. I mean, go out into the world and whatever. I think I'm gonna bunk it down for one more day. I'm not sure. I might just chill for today just to make sure. And then tomorrow I'll feel confident with going out in public and things like that. I'm just glad it's over, man. That was a scary experience. I didn't know how it was gonna go down. You see how a lot of people got it bad on TV, and honestly, they say that the younger people are less susceptible to a fatal situation when it comes to the coronavirus, but I'm an unlucky motherfucker, you know what I mean? And I have asthma, and I had a life-threatening health situation a couple years back. I was nervous as hell, but luckily, all I had was a fever, muscle aches, stomach issues, and I did have shortness of breath. That scared the shit out of me. But luckily things are getting better. I'm happy to report that things are getting better, so I'm very happy about that. But I hope you guys enjoy my video. I appreciate you guys for just listening to my story and my situation and what I've been going through. I'm glad it's over, man. I'm glad that I'm getting better. For all the people out there that are going through this situation, going through the coronavirus, I wish you guys the best of luck. God bless. I will be praying for y'all. For the people that didn't get the coronavirus yet, stay safe, wash your hands. For the people bitching and complaining about, oh, I'm bored, I want to go out. Trust me, you got a whole life to live. You have a whole life to look forward to, to go out and take that flight to the Bahamas or to California that you wanted to. But at the moment, the world could really use your help right now. And just, hunker down and stay at home for now. The nurses and the doctors will greatly appreciate it. But I hope you guys enjoy my story. And remember, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I'll get back with y'all in the next video. Take it easy.